Coming up next on Good Morning El Paso, a search and rescue continues right now for a group of boys who got lost hiking on Trans Mountain. Our round-the-clock news crew is on the scene with the very latest in a live report. Also, a woman is behind bars this morning after police say she stabbed her husband to death. We have those details of what her daughter told police. And a Doñana man is also behind bars this morning after police say he raped a woman at a senior center in Las Cruces. We have the latest details.
Live, where news comes first. From the Mesilla Valley and Las Cruces to El Paso and the borderland. This is ABC7's Good Morning El Paso.
It's 6 o'clock. Good morning, El Paso, Las Cruces, and Juarez. I'm Hillary Floren. We have a lot to get to. Let's start off with our round-the-clock coverage unfolding right now. Emergency crews are right now working to rescue a group of boys who got lost hiking in the Franklin Mountains. ABC7's Luke Liddon is live right now with the latest details. And Luke, we understood they have found one of those boys.
Hillary, a search and rescue mission for 4 boys is still underway near Trans Mountain in the Franklin Mountains. And a quick update on Trans Mountain Road, the lanes are open in both directions, so for all your morning drivers, that is some good news as both roads in both directions are open. But emergency crews have been working since around 1 a.m. to search for 4 boys that got lost in the Franklin Mountains. If you take a look behind me, you'll see that around 6 crews are part of this operation. Details are still unclear as to how or when the group of children got lost, but officials say it looks like they were out camping when they did. We know there are 2 14-year-old boys, a 13-year-old and an 11-year-old, and the 11 and 13-year-old boys are related. So far, crews have found the 13-year-old boy, but the 3 other boys are still missing. Officials say neighbors near the scene saw a flashing light the kid was reflecting, and that's how crews found him. The 13-year-old boy, though, did not have any information of the other boys' whereabouts, and officials say, though, one of the boys that is still currently lost has a cell phone, but they can still not reach the boy at this point in time. The last time these boys were seen was around 6 p.m. yesterday, and officials say if you see these children anywhere, please call 911.
If they do see an 11-year-old and 2 14-year-olds, to please notify us because we're looking for them. Maybe they made their way down already and are enjoying breakfast right now, and we're all looking for them. So if anybody sees an 11-year-old and 2 14-year-olds eating, to please call 911 and let us know because we are actively searching for them.
The helicopter is still out here actively searching for the 3 remaining boys, but they've still yet to be found. And once we have more information, we will be sure to update you on air and online. Reporting live near Trans Mountain Road, Luke Liddon, ABC7.
Thanks so much, Luke. And now let's get right to Crystal for a look at our forecast today. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Hillary. Our forecast, a lot better news. It looks great out for today. We are talking sunshine through your afternoon, a clear start. Here's a look at your temperatures. Right now, we're at 45 degrees in El Paso. Winds are at 3 miles per hour. Now, this is also good news because if those boys are still out there right now, temperatures are not below freezing, so things should be okay for them. Winds also not going to be an issue through the morning. As for Las Cruces, 38, the temperature outside. It does feel like 32. So a colder start to the morning in Las Cruces. Cold enough that you'll definitely want the jacket in Las Cruces. You can probably sneak by without it in El Paso this morning. Winds are at 7 miles per hour. On your clouds and radar map, it's clear skies outside. That's going to last, as we mentioned, throughout today, but not through your weekend. We've got bigger changes. We'll talk about those in just a few minutes.
Thanks so much, Crystal. We have shocking details right now about the woman accused of killing her husband in northeast El Paso over the weekend. Police say the woman's 5-year-old daughter is the one who actually had to tell police her father was dead and that the blood inside the apartment was his. 31-year-old Mandy Renee Johnson is charged now with murder. She's being held on a $1 million bond. Her husband, Eric Word, was found lying outside their apartment complex, covered in blood. Police say he was stabbed once in the stomach and once in the chest. ABC7's Jerry Nahada has more.
The police report gives plenty of details from the night the stabbing occurred, but it's the neighbors who tell me Mandy had been acting erratically and that she and her husband had been arguing since Wednesday.
Sometimes she seemed to be level-headed. Other times it seemed like she was having a really bad day. She'd be yelling and screaming, slamming doors, yelling at the kids, yelling at neighbors.
Kim Watson is a friend of Mandy. She says Mandy and her husband had been arguing recently because she wasn't taking her meds.
She didn't like to take her medication. She didn't like the way it made her feel.
Sunday night, police say after Ward was stabbed, he knocked on several neighbors' doors looking for help. When officers arrived, they found Ward bleeding from the stomach and chest. He died at the hospital. At the time, police didn't know the victim's name, but they followed a blood trail to Mandy's home. She told police a man had come looking for her husband, who everyone calls Slim, and that they had left together.
I knew something was up because she was acting really weird.
Neighbor Hazel Clipstein says Mandy had told him she was concerned that a man had stabbed her husband.
She was worried that something happened to Slim, when in all actuality, she had just stabbed him.
Watson says at first Mandy was crying, but then she appeared calm and asked for a favor.
She came to my house asking for cleaning supplies. I offered her some bleach and she said no, she needed something different. So she left and took off and went to Walmart, and she bought cleaning supplies and came back.
And the whole time the cops are here.
And the whole time the police and the detectives are here.
Police noticed Mandy cleaning the apartment. She was taken into custody and neighbors were shocked. One of them remembered Mandy had found a large kitchen knife earlier in the week.
A pretty wide blade knife, picked it up and told him, "Oh, this is perfect. Now I can kill somebody with it."
Police say during the ride to the detention facility, Mandy told him she had been trying to get rid of her husband because he was constantly mistreating her. Neighbors tell me the saddest part about all of this is that Eric Ward was a good man. They say he was always cleaning, was very respectful, and above all, was a good father. Reporting for Good Morning El Paso, I'm Jerry Nakira.
A man in Doña Ana County is behind bars this morning accused of raping a 50-year-old woman who was living at a senior home. 25-year-old Peter Dylan Lucero is charged with kidnapping and criminal sexual penetration. Investigators believe Dylan may have been visiting a relative at the Good Samaritan Society Center in Las Cruces. He allegedly entered the woman's room and assaulted her. Police say the woman has a medical condition and is in a wheelchair most of the time. Video surveillance allegedly shows Dylan entering the woman's room the day of that attack and then leaving 30 minutes later. The executive director of the center told our New Mexico mobile newsroom the center is helping the victim's family now through this difficult time. Also in New Mexico, a former Santa Fe County deputy accused of killing his partner may claim it was all self-defense. Ty Chan is charged with capital murder for allegedly killing fellow deputy Jeremy Martin in Las Cruces. Chan and Martin were staying in Las Cruces after dropping off a prisoner in Arizona. Police say the two got into a fight inside a hotel after a night of drinking. Chan's defense attorney said he might argue Deputy Martin was prone to violence. He's asking the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office to release certain records. But the Sheriff's Office is fighting the release of those records, arguing they are protected under New Mexico's public records law. Chan, meanwhile, remains under house arrest in Santa Fe and is scheduled to go to trial in September. Protest yesterday calling for Doña Ana County Treasurer David Gutierrez to step down.
Elected official who we as voters put in there needs to respect his employees and the women that he works with.
Protesters gathered outside the Doña Ana Government Center yesterday morning to demand Gutierrez's resignation. Gutierrez admitted to investigators that he offered a female employee money in exchange for sex back in August. He has not said, or rather he has said that he will not step down. Yesterday, the county manager asked voters to recall Gutierrez during her State of the County address. Gutierrez, however, not available for comment. And back here in El Paso, it's been a year of bitter negotiations, and yesterday a deal was finally met between University Medical Center and the Children's Hospital. The two had been at odds over more than $90 million UMC says Children's owes it for rent and services. This major step forward, as it's being called, took place without board chair William Hansen. The UMC spokesman told us that this was likely the last meeting for both Hansen and Vice Chair Laura Ponce, whose term ends at the end of the month. Although we don't have all the details of that deal just yet because they will be released to us shortly, Judge Veronica Escobar says that she could not be happier with this resolution.
I do want to thank the Children's Hospital Board. They've been through a lot of turmoil in the last year, and as I mentioned earlier, I have for a long time considered them allies, and I still consider them allies when it comes to what we want to achieve for El Paso's children, what we want to see ultimately from the Children's Hospital, and how we want to create greater access to health care for El Pasoans.
Judge Escobar says the next step is a presentation to Commissioner's Court on Monday, and even though both sides have reached this agreement, it still needs to be approved by the Commissioner's Court. A live look at traffic right now. US 54 at Trans Mountain looking good. Again, the search and rescue underway for those 3 out of 4 teens who were reported missing on Trans Mountain. But we want to let you know that Trans Mountain Road is open to traffic in both directions. Still ahead, winter is almost over, but these giant chunks are proving otherwise. Take a look at that. We'll show you where that is coming up. And later, back here in the borderland, El Paso looking to restore the streetcars at the airport. What companies are proposing. And meteorologist Crystal Cly standing by right now with a pretty nice forecast for today.
Oh yeah, it is a good forecast, not just today, but a few days of the 7-day forecast looking great. We'll talk about those and the more bumpy days coming up after your break.
Thanks, Crystal. This is ABC 7, where news comes first.